Whew, this is a long one. Hello, new friends! Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back. Seeing as it's a new year and recently I have gotten a bunch more subscribers, which I appreciate. All of you, you're awesome. I thought I would do a little about me / about my channel video with a movie twist, seeing as this is a movie related channel. I'm gonna first start off with a little about me and an introduction to myself and this channel before I go into a 20 questions based around movies. So who am I? I am Amy, otherwise known as Amy K, around the social media platforms. I went to school for video production and minored in film studies, so I love all things movies, TV, and especially filmmaking related and the history of it all. I'm a huge history buff. Well, let's say not huge, but I'm a pretty big history buff. I love history and especially history revolving around filmmaking. So that's kind of why I started this channel, and I just wanted to share my love and passion for the history of filmmaking with other people who I thought would enjoy it as well. But I also started this channel because I love talking about movies and TV shows with my friends, and a lot of my friends live in Indiana where I grew up, and I moved out here to Los Angeles in May. So I'm kind of by myself a lot.
You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you.
But I do have some friends out here in LA who I talk with about movies and things like that. But I just wanted to talk to more people, or as many people as I could, about some things I am very passionate about. And that's kind of why I started this channel. Mostly started out of boredom because when I first moved out to LA, I had no job and nothing to do. So I went to see The Big Sick, and that was my first review. I was like, why not? Why not just put up a review of this awesome movie and see where it takes me? And from there, I was kind of addicted. I loved making the videos, which with my video production background, I'm not super strong in video production. I do have a little bit of editing experience, but mostly I was a producer / production manager, so a lot of my experience is mostly in the production, behind the scenes kind of thing. But I still loved talking about movies and recording movies, even though I'm not, or never usually was, really fond of being in front of the camera. And if you've looked back at some of the older videos on this channel, or even when this channel was officially created back in like 2010 or 11, I originally used this as a place to just dump all of my student film projects because at the time I didn't have a Vimeo. So you will see a lot of old student film projects throughout the early stages of this channel. So if you want to see my early work, there is actually a playlist linked right here for you to check out any of my old filmmaking projects. Other things I do on this channel besides movie reviews, I do collection videos, which you will get to see some of my DVD collection later on in the video. I also have a collection of coffee table books that are centered around filmmaking and other filmmaking books that I will probably do more videos on, as well as a movie ticket collection. Those are just some of my collections, and you can see all the videos I've made on my collections up in the playlist right there. In addition to that, my favorite series on this channel, besides my movie, well, actually I think I like this series a lot more than my movie reviews, which are still fun and I love it because it's like the lifeblood of my channel. But the series that I am super passionate about is my 1001 Movies Challenge, which stemmed from this little book here, or back here, and is the reason my channel is named The Movie Checklist. In that challenge, I watch a different movie every other week from the list on this book that I haven't already watched. If you want to check out the playlist on that and the intro video, it is linked up there as well. And if you're curious as to the schedule of videos on this channel, I always have a video every Tuesday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's always movie related. There's also usually a review every Friday, a new movie review of a movie that came out either that day or recently in the past couple weeks. I try to do at least one a week, if not whenever there's a really new big movie coming out. And every other Sunday I do a 1001 movie challenge video. There is one coming up this coming Sunday where I'm going to be talking about Good Morning Vietnam, the amazing Robin Williams movie. And now on to the 20 questions. The first one is, what is your favorite movie of all time? This one was very, very hard for me because I have a lot of favorite movies and they're all broken down into kind of different genres or types or like series of movies, but I had to pick just one, and the one I chose It's not even like my favorite movie from this director. It's Goodfellas. This is probably my favorite movie of all time. I love Scorsese. I will talk a little bit more about that later, but Taxi Driver is my favorite Scorsese movie, but Goodfellas is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I love this movie so much. It's so well done. Question number 2 is your favorite scene from that movie, and I will play a little clip of up here somewhere of the scene while I talk about it, but a lot of people would say their favorite scene from Goodfellas is either the long take through the Copacabana or when Joe Pesci has his funny how monologue, but my personal favorite is when Henry Hill is kind of a little paranoid and driving around on drugs towards the end of the movie thinking that the FBI is chasing him in a helicopter. It is hilarious and funny and just so perfectly well shot that it really brings the entire movie kind of full circle. Number 3 is your favorite actor slash actress. My favorite actor is definitely Leonardo DiCaprio. He is such a chameleon and he is so dedicated to his work. In Django Unchained, he cut his finger with a knife in one scene and continued going, and that was the scene Quentin Tarantino actually put in his film. And for The Revenant, Leonardo DiCaprio is a known vegan and he ate bear meat for that role. Like, he ate actual, I mean, it's not bear meat, he ate like actual meat for that role, which is very commendable. And even though he probably got sick for like a week after that, because I don't eat meat all that much, and when I do eat meat I feel so terrible, he probably felt even worse. He's such a great actor and chameleon and does anything he needs to do for any role that he's in. But my favorite actress is Lucille Ball. I love her so much. I have every season of I Love Lucy. She is such a great comedian and such a wonderful, talented powerhouse for women everywhere. She's one of the first women to run and own her own studio. She was one of the first women to have her own comedy show, her own television show that was solely based around her, not just like she's a secondary character like Mary Tyler Moore was in the Dick Van Dyke Show, but she's such a strong, amazing, funny, hilarious woman. And she passed away about a year before I was born, which is really upsetting, but this is one of my earliest memories, is Lucille Ball. Number 4 is most annoying actor or actress. I couldn't think of an actor for this, but the most annoying actress to me personally is Kristen Stewart. I really liked the first Twilight movie when it first came out, because I was in like middle school slash high school, and those books were huge when I was younger, and I loved them. But since I have really started hating them, they're like way too overhyped and all of that stuff. But Kristen Stewart was never my favorite part about that. I think the reason I loved those movies so much was because of Robert Pattinson as Edward Cullen. Kristen Stewart always bothered me, always has, always will. I wanted to have a DVD for like every question on this list, and I sadly don't have, or not sadly, I just honestly don't have anything with Kristen Stewart in it. Question number 5 is best director. Honestly, there are so many amazing directors. I took this question to be my personal favorite director, and as you can probably guess from earlier questions, my answer is going to be, of course, Scorsese. I absolutely adore Scorsese. Actually the first film studies class I ever took was a Scorsese film class. We studied all of his works, most of his works, I guess. He just masters the camera so well. His cinematographer masters the camera, but he's such a great master of storytelling and showing you different sides of the story. He gets a lot of hate for glamorizing the mob and movies like that, especially with Goodfellas and Mean Streets and even Wolf of Wall Street, because he shows a different side of the story than what we normally see in movies, which I really love because you don't see those sides of the stories hardly ever. And I think he's the reason why I love biopics so much, is because he can take a real story or something adapted from a real life story and give it this whole new life that just seems so crazy and so unrealistic, even though it kind of really happened, and it's mind-boggling to me. And he's one of those early auteur filmmakers who went to school for filmmaking, so he really has a grasp on all of the different ways to make a film amazing, and he also pays homage to a lot of earlier works in his own. Question number 6 is your favorite guilty pleasure movie. I have a bunch of these, but I'm only going to name 3 because they're 3 of my favorites to watch whenever I just feel like I need a pick-me-up or just something stupid and funny to play on in the background. The first one is the live-action Scooby-Doo. One of my sisters and I used to quote this movie to each other all the time. I think I know this movie front and back. I've watched it so many times, which is really kind of sad. The first National Treasure movie, not the second one. This one is pure Nick Cage, and it's probably my favorite Nicolas Cage movie, except Mom and Dad might be my favorite one, even though I haven't seen it yet. I plan on watching it this week, but this is like a little toned down, but still pure Nick Cage. And Shrek. Who doesn't love Shrek? I have this movie on VHS and DVD. There is a story to that in my VHS collection, which you can watch a video that I believe I linked the playlist with all of my collection videos somewhere up there. You can go check that out. Question number 7 is favorite tearjerker. I'm not one to really enjoy sad movies or movies that are meant to make you cry. I'm emo enough already for that. I usually go to more of a funny or lighthearted or kind of gritty movie. But if I had to pick a tearjerker, it would probably be a tie between pretty much every Pixar movie, and I did not have Up. I thought I had Up in my collection. I should have it. It's just not listed in my catalog of movies. So it's going to be represented by Inside Out, which is another great tearjerker movie from Pixar. Question number 8 is what character from a movie scared you the most? For me, it definitely has to be Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs. Anthony Hopkins just terrified the crap out of me, and it's not because I had seen this movie as a kid. I probably watched this movie for the first time in one of my film studies classes maybe 5 years ago. This movie just scared the crap out of me. It's one of my favorite movies, but Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter just terrified me so much. Question number 9 is favorite movie duo. I took this 2 ways. The first way is favorite movie collaborators, so they make movies together, an actor-director duo kind of, and my favorite is, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio and Scorsese, my favorite actor, my favorite director. I mean, Wolf of Wall Street is such an amazing, crazy movie, and Shutter Island is super intense. I think I watched this like 3 times in a row, and just it scared the crap out of me because I watched it at night every single time, and I just kept watching it to figure out all of the hidden layers in it. And this is turning into another collection video. Sweet. And then The Departed and The Aviator are 2 other really great Scorsese DiCaprio movies. And if I had to choose another filmmaking duo, it would be De Niro and Scorsese. I think I only have 2 of the movies that they collaborate on together, Mean Streets and Goodfellas. I want Casino so bad, and Taxi Driver, of course, is one of my favorite movies of Scorsese's. But Scorsese is really great at collaborating with actors for a long time and kind of fitting roles around them, even if they don't necessarily look like their characters. Like, I don't really think that DiCaprio looks a whole lot like Jordan Belfort, but he still was really great at portraying him in Wolf of Wall Street. But my favorite on-screen duo has to be, of course, Sam and Frodo from Lord of the Rings. They are just one of the original, well, not the original bromances. Well, I guess they're the original bromances of books, but it's just, they care about each other so much and they want to protect each other so much. It's such an adorable relationship that they have together. We are halfway through this list. Number 10 is favorite animated movie. I have a bunch of favorite animated movies. More modern ones are Moana, which I don't have yet, and Zootopia. I went to see this 3 times in theaters, and I've watched it, I think I watched it twice the day it came out on Netflix, and then purchased it myself, and I've watched it so many times. I love this movie so much. It's so cute and adorable. I think it's mostly just because I love animals so much. It's the reason why I love this movie. So, talking animals, solving a mystery, very cute. But my favorite animated movie of all time, and I'm really bummed I can't watch this anymore, is The Emperor's New Groove. I am obsessed with this movie. I can't watch this anymore because it, of course, is a VHS. I don't have it on DVD yet, and my VCR is currently broken. But this movie is hilarious. It's kind of a cult classic, I feel like. but I love watching it. It is hilarious, and like the Scooby-Doo movie, I have this entire movie memorized. Number 11 is actor or actress crush. My actor or actress crush is the amazing Jake Gyllenhaal. I think I talk a little bit about this in my VHS collection, my obsession with Jake Gyllenhaal since like I was in when did this movie come out? 2000? I think we first watched this in like the 6th grade, so like years ago, like 16, 17 years ago. I watched this movie and I fell in love with Jake Gyllenhaal. It's one of his first earliest movies, but I am obsessed with Jake Gyllenhaal. And number 12 is favorite movie villain. And again, this goes back to Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs. He terrified me so much. I mean, Anthony Hopkins played him so well. It was absolutely terrifying. You just get chills watching him because Anthony Hopkins portrayed him so well. But Hannibal Lecter is also just this crazy, insane character. And not necessarily just from Silence of the Lambs. I haven't watched the Hannibal show, but I feel like he's really terrifying in that as well. I mean, a psychopathic cannibal serial killer who is a psychologist as well kind of just is a very terrifying thought. Number 13 is what movie surprised you the most? And I have made a ton of videos talking about this. Well, I talked about it in my favorite movies of 2017, as well as a bunch of Stardust reactions on it over on my Stardust channel. Or my Stardust account, if you haven't checked out my Stardust account, it is kind of linked in the description down below. But the movie that surprised me the most of all time is the 2017 It. And it's not because I was surprised that this was a great movie. I'm surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did. If you have watched any of my other videos talking about It, I am not a fan of horror movies. I'm not a fan of clowns. And the picture of Tim Curry as Pennywise from the original It movie, which I have somewhere over in my collection. I should have brought that over. But the original Pennywise makeup always terrified me when I was younger, seeing pictures of it. I think that's the reason why I didn't like clowns very much. But Bill Skarsgård just brought Pennywise in a whole different direction and just put so much subtlety into the character, especially since they're doing a part 2. And I believe that they're doing a kind of background on Pennywise in part 2 or chapter 2, or they're maybe doing a Pennywise movie. I don't know. But I just feel like this movie was just laced with such great undertones on Pennywise, and the kids in this movie were fantastic. It just really surprised me how much I am obsessed with and love this movie and the whole It Stephen King universe after doing a bunch of research on this movie. Question number 14 is, if you could only own one movie, what would it be? To the people who know me the best, this probably is not a surprise, but it is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This movie I have watched 30 times unashamedly. I probably have watched this movie the most out of any movie I own. I am obsessed with Harry Potter, as you can probably tell from my books and my wands, and I just love Harry Potter a lot. I have a Harry Potter tattoo. I have a cat named Luna after Luna Lovegood. So Harry Potter is definitely one of the greatest movies of all time. To me, at least, it is just one of the reasons why I love movies so much is not just because of Harry Potter, but like magic. Movies are magic to me, and Harry Potter kind of represents that magic, at least in my mind. I chose the Sorcerer's Stone over any of the other ones because it is just one that I would be able to watch over and over and over and over again without stopping. If it's on TV, I will play it. If I just feel like I need a pick-me-up, I will play it. It's just one of those movies that I just never get tired of. Question number 15 is, recommend someone a movie. And I'm not going to pick a specific person. I'm going to pick anybody who hasn't seen these movies because they are movies that you need to watch. They are The Big Sick and Arrival. These are two movies I believe that came out. I know The Big Sick came out this year, but I think Arrival came out earlier this year. Yeah, I think it came out like earlier this year because it was on my best movies of favorite movies of 2017 honorable mentions list. I love Arrival. It has such an an amazing story. Denis Villeneuve did a great job telling it, and you really don't figure out what's happening in this movie until towards the end, which I really, really love, and it kept me captivated the whole time. I walked out of this movie almost in tears because of how beautiful it was shot, and because I was just so entranced by the movie itself. Just the whole, like, thing of, I feel like if I talk about this anymore, I'll give it away, but if you haven't watched this, you definitely need to watch it, and just don't go into it with any spoilers. Don't research it. Don't look it up. I only watched one trailer before going to see this movie for the first time. And watching this with my mom when she first watched it was the best feeling in the world, because just watching her figure out everything was amazing. And then The Big Sick, this was the first review I did for this channel, and I talk about it in my favorite movies of 2017 video, that I love Kumail and I love the story of him and his wife Emily, and how they met each other and how they fell in love, and kind of what brought them, well, I guess I don't know if this like necessarily brought them together, but this is such a great unconventional love story. It's so beautiful and heartfelt, and it feels very real because it is legitimately a real story written by the two people who lived it. Question number 16, if you could go back in time and marry any actor or actress, who would it be? So stemming from my actor or actress crush, we all know it's going to be Jake Gyllenhaal, but I could do that now. I mean, honestly, I couldn't do it now because he's a famous movie star and I'm just me, but honestly, I could marry Jake Gyllenhaal. If it came up, I would marry Jake Gyllenhaal. But if I had to go back in time and pick an actor from back in time, I would pick Goonies era Josh Brolin. I am obsessed with how he looked back in this, and if you know the band All Time Low, one of my personal favorite band of all time, their bass player looks exactly like Josh Brolin from the Goonies, and it's very scary and very cool, but I love Josh Brolin in the Goonies as well. If I had traveled back in time, it would be to Josh Brolin. Question number 17, one remake you wish had never been made. I know 100% that I'm going to get a lot of hate from my best friend about this, because this is one of her favorite directors, is the Tim Burton Charlie and the Chocolate Factory Willy Wonka remake. I really feel like this was unnecessary. I mean, it kind of gives like a different side of the story to like how the Oompa Loompas came to the factory. I guess the good thing about this is Freddie Highmore, the kid who plays Charlie, is adorable in this, and I love Freddie Highmore in general. He's great in Bates Motel. He's great in the like 3 episodes of The Good Doctor that I watched, but I feel like this is kind of not the exact time, but around the time that both Tim Burton and Johnny Depp were starting to slip into their really not so great movie phases. It wasn't as fun as the original one, but I don't think you can really top Gene Wilder doing a somersault to a handstand and singing Pure Imagination. I just love Willy Wonka, and this just didn't really cut it for me. It's just a weird, awkward, colorful mess of things, which, I mean, I still own the movie, I still watch the movie because, I mean, another guilty pleasure, but I just feel like this wasn't necessarily a necessary movie. Question number 18 is, you are about to die and you can only watch one movie, and what movie do you choose? Another Harry Potter movie, but this time I'm going with The Prisoner of Azkaban. This is personally my favorite Harry Potter movie. I did a ranking video for all of the Harry Potter movies. You can watch that up there. I go into a little bit more depth on why I love this movie so much, but it's such a dark movie, and it really is the turning point of the entire series. I feel like Alfonso Cuarón did such a great job portraying that I know Christopher Columbus couldn't have done, and this movie desperately needed, that the series desperately needed as well. But this is another of the Harry Potter movies that I could just watch over and over and over again. Question number 19 is, favorite genre of movie / favorite movie from that genre. So my favorite genre, I have a lot, mostly biopics and comedy, but I feel like comedy would probably be my #1 choice. And it took me a solid like 10 minutes to think of what movie was my favorite from the comedy genre, and I ended up with Mean Girls, another movie that I watched relentlessly. I love this movie so much. Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Lindsay Lohan, I mean Tim Meadows. It's like Saturday Night Live did a invisible sketch and made it into this movie. I am so obsessed with this movie. I think I've watched this so many times. I feel like a lot of the movies that I've shown you guys in this video I've watched a ton and can quote, but this is another one. It's very quotable. I feel like it's a cult classic in a way, but it's also a very popular movie. But this is probably one of my favorite comedy movies of all time because it's very catty, very relatable in some aspects, but it's hilarious, and it's probably one of my favorite Lindsay Lohan movies. And question number 20 is, what is the first movie you remember watching in the theaters? Honestly, there are probably other movies that I went and saw in the theaters, but the only one that I actually physically remember going and seeing in theaters, I was probably 10 or 12 whenever this movie actually came out in theaters, is Titanic. Probably setting off my Leonardo DiCaprio obsession. I think this was the first like actual Leonardo DiCaprio movie I had ever watched as well, so definitely was in love with Jack when I was like 10 or 12 or whenever this movie actually came out in theaters. There was a big long story behind going to see Titanic, but we were in Wisconsin and it was actually the first PG-13 movie I saw in theaters as well. My mom wanted to take me to a movie and we went to see Titanic, just the two of us in Wisconsin. And it was a huge big deal because Jack is from Wisconsin and we were like, oh, we're in Wisconsin. Yeah, it was fun, kind of a fun moment, but Titanic was definitely the first movie I remember seeing in theaters. And those are all the questions. If you want to answer these questions in the comments down below, or I mean just make a video and send it to me, I would love to see it, love to see your answers. I have also put them in the description box below. And a couple things to look forward to for the next couple weeks. The Oscars were announced a little bit earlier this morning, and I honestly recorded this like 4 or 5 days ago, so I don't know the nominees, but I will be doing a video on every single Best Picture nominee, except if I have already done a video on it. So for example, I believe Dunkirk and The Disaster Artist are both in the running for nominees for Best Picture, and I've already done videos on those, so I will not be doing a review video on either of those movies if they are nominated, but I will be doing review videos for every single other Best Picture nominee. I already have 2 of them ready, and there is one that I am preparing to get ready. So I know, and those 3 I know for sure that they are going to be nominated because I don't think there is a reason why they won't be. And there are 2 more coming up that I hopefully will have ready, and hopefully they'll be nominated. But those are going to be some fun Oscar videos I'm going to be looking forward to, and every other video I'm going to be doing besides my normal Friday reviews are going to be Oscar related. So my 1001 videos, I'm going to be doing an Oscar predictions video and a follow-up video on seeing how well my Oscar predictions held up. And then after the Oscars are all over, I'm going to be announcing the start of a brand new series on my channel. I'm not getting rid of any series or anything like that. I'm going to be starting another new series, and I'm really excited for that one. That I think is one that I can get you guys in on, so look forward to all of that. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you, whoever you are. Let me know who you are in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, and if you are new here, subscribe, because I love talking movies, TV shows, filmmaking, and all kinds of fun stuff like that with you guys, and I hope to see you later. Bye!